So there is this personal component to revelation. The poet Kabir wrote, "The lane of love is narrow. Two will not fit. When I was, God was not. Now God is, and I am not." This is not talking about self-annihilation. This is talking about getting outside of our tendency to construct a God just like the Israelites in the desert, and to be open to the revelation of God available to each of us. This is why, for me, one of the primary texts of Christian literature has been The Cloud of Unknowing. And I did a word search on the 60-odd sermons I've done since being with you to see how many times I've mentioned this book, and it's 61. But it for me talks about what Mary Jo was speaking about with the women's retreat. Because The Cloud of Unknowing, written by Anonymous, you've read some of his or her books, says, do you want to experience God? Do you want to know God? Then here's how. Sit before God with a naked intent. No agenda. Hush your mind, hush your mouth, and just know you're in the presence of God. And carry that with you wherever you go. The theme of the retreat isn't how to make God present to us. It's how we can make ourselves present to God. And that's a huge distinction. The psychologist D.W. Winnicott said that we can teach people the words and the concepts about God. Professors can tell you. Preachers can tell you. Friends can tell you. Books can tell you. They can give you the concepts of God, and they can tie them to doctrine, they can tie them to church. But please know that this is only one step in your journey. The rest of it is between you and God. I am not, and there is God. We've started the confirmation season with the 8th graders. In our confirmation season, when I was Lutheran, it was 3 years long. And then I got here, and it's half a year. But then I realized that we could, in a stealth fashion, extend our confirmation program to 2.5 years. So we're catching up. Because what we do is, from kindergarten to 6th grade, we give the stories to the children. Here are the stories of our tradition. Here are the stories of God. And then, and these are sneaky 2 years, 7th and 8th grade, the youth go through the Old Testament and the New Testament. So they get a very intensive exposure to the Bible. Less stories, more of wrestling with what is this book. And so we have given them the words, we have given them the phrases for God. And now, as Heidi and I work with them on confirmation, we'll be talking about doctrine. We'll be connecting this to doctrine and the church. But then ultimately, we will ask them, in light of everything that you have learned, what has been revealed to you? What do you believe? The all-church retreat has a theme, and it's everyday miracles. Now, miracles in the progressive tradition, we get a little skitsy about that. It's a loaded term. We're shy about using the word miracles. What's a miracle? Certainly, anything Jesus did with the healing or the multiplication of the food, rising from the dead, these are miracles. But we don't see miracles like this. And so the discussion, hopefully, will be, what does a miracle look like to us now? What do we call a miracle? And what does that mean for our belief? What has been revealed to us in the time between our confirmation and now? It's a question we need to ask over and over again through the entirety of our lives. Hopefully, part of that discussion will be that there will be people who say, I don't experience miracles. I really struggle. I struggle with my faith. I don't know what a miracle is. The philosopher Sri Aurobindo had a lovely thing to say about it. And he said that the mind might be a shifting sea of doubt, yet the faith that is there in us, however small it may be, however minuscule it may be, will keep the doubt moving forward. The doubt-racked mind moving forward towards its goal. But that thing that receives the answers, that receives the revelations, is not the mind, it's not the intellect, it's not even the heart. It is the soul. That is why, ultimately, certainty, proof, pale in comparison to faith. Because faith occurs in the nexus between the human soul and God. That is where the revelations take place, and where you and I are inextricably linked to the God we seek to understand and believe in. Amen.